Time has passed, folks. I have no idea where we left off. I know we have to do a wheel bearing and parking brake shoes. I don't remember what we talked about though. I ended up doing front brakes for this young lady also. We're gonna have to get an air hammer, give that a little shove. This is what our front brakes look like. Pretty thin, although still legal here in the PRNY. They were not metal against metal. I let her know that they're ultra thin and should be replaced unless you want to come back next week and have them done. She said, don't be silly. You do what you need to do. So we did. And we did not damage into that axle, for anybody saying. We would have used a pointy bit if it was driving a little bit harder, but it wasn't. Went in nice and easy. Let's go on the back side here and to take the bolt out, but first let's take our parking brake shoes off. We'll just get these right out of the way just because we have to take them off anyhow. So we'll grab a hold of this upper spring, give that a little pull. Save all your hardware if you like so you can compare it to your new stuff. Down here on the bottom we'll also grab a hold of the spring and get that one out of there. There goes our adjuster, which we don't need, and there's our front shoe, back shoe. That's a shoe. We'll take and pop this shoe off. Pry her up here a little bit. Stick that to the side. The other side, I did the parking brake shoes over there. Same thing, they were falling apart. As soon as you touch them, pry on them a little bit, they ended up popping apart, so. All right, that's it. Axle's loose. Let's pull the nuts off or the bolts rather, off the wheel bearing on the back side. Grabbed us a 21 mil. I don't know if we can get them off from right here or not. Maybe. It is not 21, so we're gonna put that back. I grabbed us an 18 mil short socket. I don't know if we can get them back here, but we're gonna give it a try. There's two of them. Boy, Loctite works really well. Makes a man make funny faces. Probably not using the best tool. We'll pick up our adjuster we dropped. That's okay. That's okay, little fella. I've probably done other videos on these bearings anyways that are better video quality. Alright, I'm going to put a little Pantsy on the front of these threads, see if that helps. Probably won't because we're dealing with Loctite. You never know. There's not much thread that sticks through the front. We'll spritz down the whole bearing with the infamous Croyle. That one worked just lovely. There's only about one thread that sticks through the outside. You can see the dirty part, so it's not even quite a thread. So just sometimes the Loctite grabs a little better than other times. They're off and out of the way. Now we've just got to push, 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 and this thing will come right off. So we're going to grab our Lio push, push, push tool. Oh, stick this little guy in here. Put on both these nuts. Give them a snugga-dugga. And then find something to push on, which I don't think we have much, but let's look behind here and see up here near the top, I think. We may be able to push on the backing plate if we can shove something solid back there. But let's insert the insertion device and see where it ends up being able to poke out. Sometimes you have to push on the backing plate a little bit. However, if you can back it up behind there, which that side's not going to quite function how we want. Ooh, down here we've got some solidness. Whoa, dude. Are we going to make it? Go down here on the backing plate. Ooh, she's going to be tight. Let me see if I can get a little piece of metal to stick behind here, and then we'll be in good shape. Back it off a little bit. Girl, you're too thick. Just right. Oh, good thing my tootsies weren't in the way. I backed it off a little. Pulled out a little too soon, fella. This Ugga Dug is probably not powerful enough, but we're gonna give it a little squeeze. I'm not sure what's happening, but something's happening. I didn't think this little cordless gun was going to have enough lead in its pencil. I don't want to break the speed sensor, so I'm going to give it a little whack to make sure that axle's staying in there. I'm gonna make a funny face while I do it too. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? That's wonderful. That worked just wonderful. Saved a lot of beating. A little bit of swearing. Just came right off. There we are. We're still stuck in the backing plate a little bit. And what you want to do is just let her dangle by the cable. A lot of corrosion in there. Let's go get a BFH and give that a couple taps. The big freaking hammer. Ta-da! So that was easy. Now you can get to your little actuator. Huh, what's all this juice? Oh, idiot. We sprayed it. I forgot. I hardly ever spray things, so that's my bad. Look at this guy. Let's clean up the corrosion here. Get this kind of cleaned off a little bit, get our new bearing on there, and we'll toss things back together. get things lubed up here. We'll find our bolts. Got our brand new bearing from Napper. Not a sponsor, but we're using their parts. Just letting you know where I get stuff. Come on, baby. Try to get out of your guys' way. Let me move you a little bit. All right, I'm going to use that one bolt just to hold it for right now. Get the other two bolts here. Find my Loctite that you're ripping around down here. We'll get these babies Loctited. What's the past tense of Loctiting? If you're Loctiting the bolts. We're going to apply the Loctite. How's that sound? Look at this one. Reach around through here. Get it picked up. Through the backing plate. Get it started in the bearing. And now that I've got that one started, I'll pull out the one that's closest to me. See, right there, tried it in so far. Come on, fella. Okay, take that one back out. We'll swap it out with the one that we've already got the Loctite on. Through the backing plate. Through the bearing. There we go. Then we'll Loctite the last one and get that baby in there. So some people comment about the Loctite not needing it because everything gets rusted in place, which is true. Everything does get rusted in place. But believe it or not, Loctite actually works really good for keeping the corrosion from going down the bolt. I would say probably as good as never sees. Believe it or not, it does. You hardly ever see bolts that are lock taut, that have been Loctited, get all corroded. Usually there's no corrosion down the bolt thread, so think about that while you're eating your breakfast in the morning. Let me know what you guys think. So these are 96 foot-pounds, it says, according to service data. We should be able to get them right from here. There's one. This guy might be just little clicks. We'll come up into that CV boot a little bit, you know, won't hurt anything. There's 96 on that one. And then we'll do 96 foot-pounds on this one. There we are. 98, 96, close enough. And then like $150 on the axle nut, I'm guessing. Or I'm not guessing. Let's be honest. That's what they told me. So we'll have to do that. Let's throw our parking brake shoes back on here. You may be able to do the parking brake shoes, you know, prior to putting the bearing on, but really these ones aren't overly difficult with the bearing on, so we'll just do it like this. We're gonna put a little lube on this. We're just using our silly ceramic. I've got some left on the brush from when I did the front brakes and the brakes on the other side, so all that's done. I didn't figure we should bother showing the front brake job. I don't even know if we've talked about it in the last video. I think what it was is I looked the vehicle over for inspection, called the lady, gave her my thoughts, give her the price. She says the price that I'm doing the four-wheel brake job, the parking brake thing, the wheel bearing, the side detection, all that stuff, I think it ended up being cheaper than the dealer was just going to do the object detection module for. I know my prices aren't real high, but they ain't that far off. The dealer must just get a mint. I don't think they really like to work on older stuff, you know, so stuff outside the warranty period, you know what I mean? So these new ones, these got a different style retaining clip than the ones we took off. We had a tool for the old ones, so your original ones took the little factory cup tool. These ones use this tool and or a pair of needle nose. This allows you to do it in one fault or one swift, you know, movement here. Felt, what word am I looking for? One felt swoop. Wow. I tell you that, and then we turned it into Fumble Fest here. Come on, baby. Push and turn, push and turn. There we go. We got it. We almost got it all the way. We're gonna finish it off with a pair of needle nose because we don't want to drop it. There we go. There's that one, and then we're gonna put this shoe on the same exact way, just on the opposite side. And if you've never seen this style retainer, you've got your classic nail with a little dimple head. In through the hole, turn it, and it locks, okay? If you just try to push it through and it's got a lot of tension on it, and or pressure, depends on what piece you're talking about, and you just twist this end with a pair of pliers, you'll twist the head right off it. So if you're using pliers, the trick is you gotta come in on a clutch. You gotta push with pliers, squeeze, make a noise like that, and then turn, and then let the pressure off it. Otherwise you'll twist the head right off the little guy. Don't wanna do that. Once both those little guys are on there, you're gonna wanna fish your spring through. This spring's a little snug, so it's a bit of a pain. You just wanna hang on to it on the opposite side with a pair of pliers, just so you don't drop it. It's the big thing. Get it down here. Grab it with the needle nose vice grip so you get a hold of it. This is where you can send it right through your finger. So we'll record it just in case, but today's our lucky day. We're gonna grab it right here like that. Push. Get that in so the lower spring's on. Step 2, your upper spring, you're using aftermarket stuff. We're gonna put her on the back side. Anybody who's watched our videos knows why. And I checked it again on the other side, over there. And if you put it on the front side, you're gonna have issues. It gets all wadded up when you try to turn your adjuster. It walks all the way up and around the front of the spring because the springs are slightly different. The factory adjuster on that side is left-hand thread. Both of these aftermarket ones are right-hand thread. It doesn't really matter. It's my preference when I install these that I put them in so when you click them up, use this fashion, that the shoes expand. So I'm gonna get a little never sees. We're gonna put it on here, and we'll get this screwed in and then just pop that on. Now, if the girl was taking this thing to car shows and was gonna pull her rotor and stuff off and stick a mirror under here, we would do it a different way. But I checked with her and she said she's not taking it to any car shows. Oh, we're so close. But we don't want to pinch our little fingers because they're full of arthritis. When you pinch them, they hurt like nothing you've ever hurt before. There we go. So that's in there. Now watch this. Now that it's in there, the clickage from it is going to be amazing. Ready? Hear that? Oh, she's just a beautiful clicker. Try to release it. Sometimes the spring will get wadded around, but usually it'll click pretty good. So there you are. Free tip Friday for you. And it's Monday. That's pretty good. Just in case we push somebody over the edge by getting stuff on our shoes. Nothing, a piece of 120. I think it's 120. It's 120 or 80. Won't fix. If you're a real pig and you think you're gonna get crap all over them, just cover them up with a piece of masking tape. We don't even need brake clean. And then when you're all done, peel the masking tape off. And believe it or not, folks, that's a trick I learned on YouTube in the comment section. Somebody told me that, and I'm like, that's a great tip. So there. Don't spend a whole lot of time on them. We will shoot a little of that just because we're making a video. Makes you feel good too. And we don't spend a lot of time on it. Why? Because nobody ever uses them. These things will sit here in the stationary position until they rot off or delaminate like they did. I can use my pocket square. How sophisticated am I to have a pocket square? I don't even have my suit on, baby. Not a big suit guy. Okay, there we go. This baby's all cleaned up. spritz down the hub face, even though it has a magical coating on it. And we'll find our rotor. I don't know where that baby went. So something pretty interesting, the front brake rotors that I put on this thing, also from Napa. Still not a sponsor. I noticed when I put them on that they seem to be higher quality than a normal Chinesium that they send us, or that most rotors are. And I look on the box and it said designed, engineered in the USA, and then in super teeny tiny letters, almost illegible, it said made in the USA. I was like, wait, there's something right there. So I said to myself, oh, tire's on the other side, so it's kind of heavy to turn. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Maybe Napa's turning over a new leaf, or their Chinese supplier couldn't fulfill their needs and they had to buy from America. We're going to take our adjuster. We're going to click her all the way out till she stops clicking. Let me lighten this up a little better. Okay, she's taut. Then we're going to back her off a few clicks. And then straighten it back up. There we go. And it turns somewhat difficult because the brakes and the wheel and everything's on the other side. Full douching of the brake clean. Wipe off the goo, what goo there is on it. Completely saturate a rag. Seems good. Seems good. Rag's pretty well shot. Let's put this on. When I was doing the other caliper brackets, I went and sandblasted these ones also, and then made sure my pins were nice and gooey. So let's lube this baby up, slap the hardware, put the bracket, or the brake pads. Gosh, idiot. New hardware, of course. I believe, I told you that these had to be metal against metal. I believe if the metal wear indicator in New York City is hitting the rotor, I believe it also passes. Or fails, rather. I'd have to double check that law. Most people are like super cool. So if I tell them, like, for example, the case of this lady, that, your pads technically pass, but they're super close. Like I say, most people are super cool about it, and they just want it fixed. They don't want to have to come back. They're gonna, if they don't do the work themselves, some people, if we showed them, like if it's, some guy or girl that works on their own car, if we're like, hey, it legally passes, but, there's only about 230 seconds of friction material. They say, oh yeah, well, thanks for telling me. I'm gonna go home and do it myself, which is fine. I don't care. Do it yourself. And then, if it legally passes, it legally passes. But at least we told them. That's all that matters. And then that's it. But like this lady, let's just get her done. Whoa, you mother lover! Haven't done that in a while. Haven't done that in a while. And then what do? We do it on camera. Ain't no going back from that one, fella. Well, I suppose you could. You could edit it out. You got fancy skills. And just so we're clear, no damage, not covered with the grease. So before people lose their mind. There's that. Oh, baby, where are you? I'm losing stuff. 21, is that what we need? But we're gonna try. Alright, torque dills and factory specs, of course. Caliper. Where are you, old caliper? Let her hang by the hose, all 4 ounces that it weighs. Oh boy. here I am saying it didn't break. And what do I find? The shim. Do you know what that comment section would have done if they saw the shim missing? Oh man, that's it. I'm sure I've done worse things in my life. I know I have, we just don't talk about them. Focus on the fact that I'm hanging this from the hose, okay? Or that I pushed all that fluid back in, thereby ruining the ABS valve. Somehow, that nobody can ever really explain. And that we've never seen happen, but we know it does it. Squeeze out a little bit of the goo here. We're just about out of that. Gotta lube that baby up a little bit on the piston face, even though it is phenolic. Just a good habit. Whoa, whoa. Almost dropped it. A little screwy in there, and one in there. We'll torque those to spec 20 something on them probably. Usually they're 25-ish, or just use common sense. Oh, that one's spinning on us. I need to hold it with a little something here. Usually doesn't take much. That's all it took. Just so we're on the same page per OEM service data. We're looking under the replace the rear pad section. So rear disc pad replacement. They tell you to warn you about the dust. Let's see. And then they tell you, inspect the fluid level on the brake master cylinder, make sure it is between the midway and maximum full point and the minimum allowable level. No brake fluid needs to be removed before proceeding, so that's where it's at. If fluid is higher than midway between the maximum, remove some brake fluid. Discard of it. Why? Because you're gonna push it back in without opening the bleeder. We come down here. Without disconnecting the brake hose, pivot the caliper upwards. Support the brake caliper with heavy mechanics wire and or equivalent. Using a large C-clamp, compress the brake piston into the brake caliper bore. And then you can keep reading. But that's it, baby. You don't open the bleeder. So you see this bin here, I fill this thing every 3 months with brake rotors. We got to take that in, it's full between just myself and Josh. And I've been doing that for just a shade over 20 years. And I've yet to have a car come back with a failed ABS pump after replacing brakes. Or ever. The only car I've ever had come in with an ABS, I've done like 3 that I can think of. Cars that have come in with failed ABS pumps with like a dump valve or an isolation valve stuck, you know, either creating a super hard brake pedal, non-functioning brake, or a fading brake pedal, you know, with like a dump valve stuck open on them. The one car was a Lincoln, was it like an MKX or whatever? That one ended up being under recall. They had a recall on those from failing. The other one was a Ford Windstar way, way back in the day. I just think of another one, but hardly any of them, but I've literally done tens of thousands of brake jobs and can't say I've ever really seen it be an issue. And just because you do a lot of something doesn't mean you do a lot of something right. So don't take my word for it, but just based on my experience, I've never seen it to be an issue. 151 on this. And the only reason we mention it because there seems to be an awful lot of people in the comments that say like every time they do it, they ruin an ABS pump. Which I'm like, well, you have some super bad luck, man. Or, I didn't see that move, did you? Oh, Thor here. Nasty. Gotta be careful. We just mentioned that. We like to feed the trolls and just kind of, you know, put to bed some of those myths your brake fluid's constantly moving back and forth in your system as you're stepping on the brakes, letting off them, and you know, if your ABS pump is active at any point. So if it didn't, your brake master cylinder fluid would probably never get dirty or darkened, whatever you want to call it. But again, I'm not an expert on that whole scenario. What I do know is that the majority of manufacturers that you look at, rarely will you see in service data where they tell you to open the bleeder or remove the hose or anything like that. So some manufacturers do, but most of them don't. Okay. A little chaotic here towards the end of the day. Wheels are on. I torqued them up, torqued them down, whatever you want to call it. The wheels are on, they're tight. We are so freaking behind here, it's not even funny. Let's see, what did this car come in with? Screaming wheel bearing, I know that. Let me throw my seatbelt real quick, stand by. Yeah, I had that wheel bearing that was screaming, and then you got the blind spot monitor and all that stuff. Oh, we got to throw an inspection sticker on it yet. Ended up a four-wheel brake job wheel bearing. Ended up doing that rear harness. No more screaming wheel bearing, so that's good. No more lights on the dash. I probably should reprogram our TPMS for position also, because I had the tires off it, and I don't know if I mixed up the rear one side to side. I don't think I did, but I'll just go through and make a blow the horn there for a little bit.
I need your help.
With what?
Everything.
Life in general? Or is that one thing that I'm really helpful with? Alright. Gotta talk to the people here for a minute. Just a minute. You're embarrassing me. You just are. You're making me blush. I gotta talk to the people here.
Okay.
Be with you in just a minute.
Okay.
Alright, well that's it, folks. We've got the Buick done, almost 88,000, 87 and some change. Of course, you probably saw that. Of course, the bill's different now because we ended up doing, you know, a four-wheel brake job on it. But I think I showed you the estimate in the beginning of this video, because some people question that sometimes, like how much this stuff costs. That's an $8,000 job. Why would somebody do that? Perhaps I'm very far removed from what other shops are charging, but according to my profits and losses, we do okay. So we're going to continue to be at the rate in which we're at, if that makes sense. Just out there to help people out, folks, make a little money and go on with their life. And I want you guys to go on with your life as long as it's going on in that comment section. That was a big stretch there, folks. Insta, the Facebook, you guys know where to find us. We're not on TikTok because that's some scumbag who's stealing our videos, but we're right here. You know where to find us. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Pointed too quick there. Have a good day.